Oh, what is the update, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 117. Wendell Clark of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all of the major news and what's happenings around the NHL, mainly focusing in on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. Those are my two favorite teams, but I'll be talking about all 32 teams on this podcast. So, what do we got on tap for today? Well, there's only 4 more team overviews to complete, so we'll probably do 2 more of those. And there is some news going around in the NHL. We got news in Anaheim. We got PWHL news, finally getting some logos and team names and all of that stuff, which is pretty cool. So cool, in fact. Let's start with the PWHL news. Let's go right there right now. And we got some PWHL Toronto, I don't even know what this is, but they're called the Toronto Sceptres. Sceptres? I don't like it. Regardless, the Toronto Scepters are going to be playing. They're moving into the Coca-Cola Coliseum. I don't remember where they were playing before that, but it's a substantial upgrade. They're going from a 2,000-seat arena to an 8,000-seat arena, which is obviously a lot more people. Will they be selling out that 8,000-seat arena? I mean, hopefully, that would be fantastic. I'm going to float the idea at my wife to see maybe if she would be interested to go see a PWHL game at the Coca-Cola. I mean, train goes right there, and maybe it'd be really cool. I wouldn't mind to see one of those games myself. I've seen a couple NHL games. It was all right, and just the price. The price point is just way too insane. But regardless, PWHL on the rise, man. They were doing great. They had such a great season last year. Lots of records getting broken on a regular basis, with the most fans coming together to watch a women's hockey game, which is great news. So far, so good with the PWHL, and I teased that they already announced their names and all that stuff. So I did take a year. It took them a year to finally get the names out for the teams and all that, but hey, better late than never. So, with the 6 teams that are in this league right now, we got the names. The Boston Fleet, and I'm looking at their logo. It's an F. It's squiggly. It's solid. Minnesota Frost. I like that name. Minnesota Frost. It's simple. It adds up. Minnesota's a very cold place. Looking at, hold on now. Are they the F? Oh, okay. Boston has a B. Their B's pretty cool. Okay, well, the Minnesota one, I think, so far is my favorite. They got the really nice F. It's purple. They're going with a nice purple color. Boston with a dark green and a lighter green. So green on green, I don't know about that one. We got the Victoire de Montreal, of course, because, Montreal, we gotta do our thing. It's nice. They got the kind of a, I don't know, it looks like, kind of like an emblem or something. It doesn't really pop or anything. It's red. It's all right. It's solid. You got the New York Sirens. I'm not sure what siren, what relates to that in New York, but I like their color. It's a nice kind of aqua color with the white, the siren. Yeah, it's okay. We got the Ottawa Charge. Not bad. Their logo, it's a weird looking C with some lines going there. You got the red. Kind of looks like an off-white, maybe a yellowish kind of color. Ottawa Charge. It's okay. And then the Toronto Scepters. I'm guessing it's Scepters. Could be Skepters. But they got the blue with the yellow. And it's just a T and an S. Kind of like the T is impaling the S. I don't really love that one. I'm not going to lie. I think the 2 best ones might be the Boston and the Minnesota logos. I like those. I like the color. Their logos. It's they were talking about it on the Steve Dangle podcast, how like stupid team names are just in general. They're going through all the team names and just like, yeah, they're all pretty silly when you're thinking about it. But yeah, man. At least it's nice to see that they have team names now. They got logos, which means there's probably going to be some jerseys. I haven't seen any mock-up jerseys or anything for what they're going to look like on the ice, but that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's kind of odd that they had an inaugural season without any jerseys or real team names. Everyone was just, PWHL Toronto, Boston, whatever the heck. And sliding into a very similar situation is the Utah team, who unveiled their jerseys this week. They look pretty plain, they're going as the Utah Hockey Club, so Utah HC. Excuse me, which I think I honestly just like that name. It might stick. They might just go with it and stick with it, but we'll see where it goes. They unveiled the jerseys. They look fine. And Utah is going to go through their first season just as the Utah Hockey Club. And fine, I imagine that jersey is going to sell pretty well. I'm not going to pick one up, but hey, you can grab one. All right, so we got some PWHL news done. Let's dive into the first overview. There's only 4 left, and I'm just going to go with Los Angeles. I'm surprised it took me so long to get to Los Angeles, but here we are, folks. We're at the Los Angeles Kings, who have been in an odd spot, honestly, for the last few years. I've kind of had them as a sleeper Stanley Cup pick the last few seasons out of the West. I think they had a sneaky, really good team. They just keep running into the frickin' Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see where they go with this season. Let's dive into it. So, Los Angeles Kings last year, 44, 27, and 11. Third place in the Pacific. They were 17th for goals for. Third place in goals against. That's shocking. Power play was 11th, and their penalty kill was 2nd place in the NHL. So that is pretty nice right there. But the team has gone through quite the change over the course of the offseason. So we look at their cap space right now. They don't have a lot. They have $1.3 million left over right now. In terms of draft picks, they have everything except for a second-round pick in 2025. Other than that, they got everything. No extras, just normal. If you're a new GM, you'd be like, all right, the cupboards are pretty good. We're doing okay here. Now, in terms of caps, or the cap space in their forwards, Kevin Fiala is their highest paid player right now at $7,875,000, which isn't bad. It is not bad. I know some people aren't big on Kevin Fiala. I actually like Kevin Fiala a lot. I think he is an awesome player. He's been great for them. Last season, 82 games, 29 goals, 44 assists, 73 points. So a little bit down. I think it's a fair price for that amount of point production. 70 points, $7 million. A bit of a down year from what he's had before, but not a bad season. Looking to get back into that 30-goal range, up to a point per game again would be preferred for your highest paid player. They have Anze Kopitar. He is 37 years old now. He is still playing at a very high level. 81 games last year, 70 points, 26 goals, and we know that not only does he bring offense, but Anze Kopitar, one of the best two-way centers in the game. But at this point, you would imagine that you got some of these other guys, Quentin Byfield, you got some of the younger players coming up. Is it time for Anze Kopitar to... I imagine he's already been taking a little bit of a back seat. I think he's still most certainly going to be taking on other teams' top offensive. He's going to be going up against the McDavids, the Crosbys, so on and so forth. I don't think they're going to be putting Quentin Byfield in that position. And I don't know if Quentin Byfield is going to play center in his career. Right now, he's kind of doing good on the wing, but he was drafted as a center. You have... who else do we got on this team? Adrian Kempe, really like this player. Again, a little bit of a down year in terms of goal scoring, 28 goals in 77 games, 75 points. But for the amount of money that he's making, it's such a bang, so much bang for your buck. $5.5 million they're paying Adrian Kempe for the next 2 seasons. So enjoy it while it lasts, because he is going to get a rather decent increase in pay after this one. But, you're hoping to get 30 goals out of Adrian Kempe this year. You got Trevor Moore, who had an outstanding season for the Kings last year. 31 goals, 57 points for Trevor frickin' Moore, man. Former Toronto Maple Leaf, and he's getting paid decently now. If he can continue to be a 30-goal guy at $4.2 million, that is a fantastic contract. In terms of what else he brings, I'm not really sure. like the offense is kind of a new feature with Trevor Moore. I don't know if I can't remember if he's a really solid two-way guy, but regardless, 30 goals for him last season. Kind of unlikely that he'll do it again, but hey, if he does it, he does it. That's sick. They have Quinton Byfield, who kind of had himself a nice breakout season last year. 80 games, 20 goals, 55 assists. It was more of the back part of the season where he really started to shine. So this is another season where Quinton Byfield could explode, hoping that he can get up to that point per game, maybe 70, 80 point range. He is starting to make his money now, $6.25 million for the next quite a little bit of time here. So if he can build on that 50-plus point season, that's going to look like a really good contract in the future. They have Phillip Danault. Not the most points out of him last season, but we know that he is an elite defensive center. 47 points, 17 goals out of him last year. And we know the big departure off the team is Pierre-Luc Dubois, who had a disastrous season for them. So that's gone. They brought in a goaltender. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But losing Dubois, I mean, he didn't really add a lot for the team last season. He just didn't really have a spot. Like, they kind of seem like they have too many centers and too many people that could be centers. And I don't know. He just didn't really seem to fit. Like, you have Anze Kopitar, there was Danault, you had Byfield, you got Dubois. Like, just seemed like a little bit too much. And I don't know. I would prefer... I'm fine with them keeping Phillip Danault, getting rid of Dubois. Dubois just was not a fit for the team. They brought in Warren Foegele, which could be a really good addition for them. He is a battler. He just great work ethic, but $3.5 million might be a little bit rich. I mean, yeah, that's what you get for the open market. Tanner Jeannot was brought over here. I completely forgot that even happened, so hopefully he can bounce back after a pretty rough go there in Tampa Bay, back over into the West now, so maybe he can do a little bit better. They have Alex Laferriere. He's 22 years old. Hopefully, maybe he can pop off a little bit more this season for them. He played 82 games last season. 81, he got 12 goals, 23 points in total, so maybe there's some more ice time available for him this season where he can get maybe some more points, but he's a younger player for the LA Kings. Trevor Lewis is still here, 37 years old, depth forward. He may not play very much, but cool to still have him there. They have Akil Thomas, Alex Turcotte, and they have not signed Arthur Kaliev yet, which is an interesting one. Kaliev is a strange player. He got into 51 games last year. Apparently he's got all this skill and lots of great tools and all this stuff, just hasn't really put it all together. 15 points in 51 games. So I don't know, man. He's still not signed at this point. So 23 years old. I don't know if he's going to make it, if he's going to find that game that people think that he has. But in terms of their forward group, it's a nice group, man. Like, yes, Anze Kopitar is getting into that pretty old range. I think he's still... we'll see, man. Like, until it happens, he's still a fantastic player. He has not dropped off yet. They had really good offense. Like, I'm kind of blown away. Or, sorry, their offense wasn't... There's their goals against, which was really good, which is very strange to me. Very strange. Goals for, though, I mean, it seemed like a lot of guys kind of had a down year, except for Trevor Moore. So if you can get Kevin Fiala back up, you get Kempe back up, Quinton Byfield takes another step forward. They got I like their additions in Foegele and Jeannot. Those are some players that can cause a lot of problems for teams. Like, just for example, like, I'm thinking further down the road. You got to think that the Kings are probably thinking, oh, well, we're probably going to run into Edmonton again. And to have a guy like Foegele and Jeannot, like, running around out there on their third, fourth line, like, yeah, that can cause some serious problems for teams in a series. I don't know. It's not going to make the biggest difference in terms of a regular season, but I like those moves in terms of a playoff edition. I think those two could be big plays for them right there. Forward group, it's not like top tier elite, but I think it's pretty deep. They got a good range of offense and defense. I like their forward group, man. There's not like a bona fide super duper star like Anze Kopitar. He's not quite that player anymore. He's still elite in terms of two-way play, but maybe Quentin Byfield pops off and he becomes that super duper star for them. But I don't know if he's going to quite hit that level. I think a really, really great second-line, first-line player. I don't know about top elite first-line player, but we'll see. Hopefully he proves me wrong. I like their forward group. It's pretty good. Pardon, just got a little phone call there from the old wife. All right, let's get back to business with the Los Angeles Kings. Let's talk about their defense. We got Drew Doughty. We know what Drew Doughty's all about. Yes, he makes $11 million. Is he an $11 million defenseman? He may not be as far off as you think. I mean, he is still really, really good. I just think that $11 million price tag kind of makes people view him in a different way. He's still a fantastic defenseman. I mean, last season, 82 games, 15 goals, 50 assists. I mean, yeah, he's still a very awesome defenseman. It's just, I don't know, Drew Doughty's just kind of disappeared a little bit. He used to be like one of the most prominent defensemen in the league, and now he's just kind of there, but he's still really, really good. It's just $11 million. He's not quite that good. You know what I'm saying? They have Vladislav Gavrikov. I'm pretty sure they brought him in last season. Really good defensive defenseman. He's big. He's mean. At almost $6 million. It's only one more year. Might be a little bit high, but not bad. They have Mikey Anderson, probably one of the more underrated defensemen any LA fan will tell you. $4.125 million he is getting paid decently now. I think that's a solid price for a 25-year-old defenseman. Not bad. They have Joel Edmondson, brought him over. $3.85 million. That's a little bit expensive, but have fun with that. They have some pretty good up-and-coming young defensemen. Obviously, Brant Clark is a big one. Lots of potential around this player, lots of hype, lots of excitement. We'll see if that excitement and everything comes to fruition, or what's that? That's too big of a word. I'm not even going to try it. Let's see if he reaches his potential this season with the Kings, if he can crack into that lineup and get a lot of ice time. 21 years old, right-handed shot, could be the future big defenseman for the Los Angeles Kings. They also have Jordan Spence. He's 23 years old now. Kyle Burrows and Andreas Englund rounds out the rest of their defense. It's a good-looking defense. It's not like amazing. Drew Doughty, 34. He's still top. He's still really good. Gavrikov, nice defensive defenseman. That'll pair good with him. It's pretty good, man. It looks like a big, heavy defense. You got Mikey Anderson, Joel Edmondson. We'll see what Brant Clark can do, man. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Hopefully he gets a lot more ice time and more time to shine and everything. That would be really cool. I'd like to see that. All right, well, their defense, like I said, pretty good, not amazing. Goaltending. So this is where it got really, really interesting for the Kings last year. So, like I said, their goaltending was third place. Goals against was third place last season, but their goaltending, wow, these numbers are amazing. What the hell are they doing? All right, anyway, well, they had Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot's gone. He had a .913 save percentage last season. They moved off of that. I mean, Cam Talbot is older. They have Big Save Dave, who was making big save Daves last season, whatever the fuck. .921 save percentage in 24 appearances last year. I wouldn't count on that all the time out of Big Save Dave. Very inconsistent, all over the place goaltender, but we'll see, man. Maybe he is going to be Big Save Dave again for them. They have Phoenix Copley, got into 8 games for them last year, an .870 save percentage, so he's kind of, I don't think he'll be backing up. He'll be a third option. And then the big guy they brought in was Darcy Kemper from the Washington Capitals, who did not have a good season last year with the Capitals. He coming in with a $5.25 million contract for the next 3 years. And yeah, we'll see if that's going to help them out. It didn't really work for the Capitals. They brought Darcy Kemper over to be, he was a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. Let's see if this guy can help us win. And he didn't really do that. He got his job taken by Charlie Sideburns, and here he is now in LA. We'll see if it works for him here. I would say that the defense in LA is better than it is in Washington. So, and I think LA just plays a more defensive game, so Kemper could bounce back and have a decent season. I mean, Los Angeles is going to be banking on that and praying on that. They need it. If they don't get good goaltending, then it's probably not going to go very good for you. I mean, yeah, that generally is how it goes for most teams, but their goaltending is definitely a huge question mark, man. Like, I don't know if you, like I said, it's not something you would want to bet the farm on. A Big Save Dave rocking a 920 again this season, and then Darcy Kemper, man, it's a new team. We don't know what's going to happen with that guy. So, yeah, LA, I would still picture them making it to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to do a lot of damage outside or inside those playoffs. I mean, you got the powerhouses in Edmonton, which they just seem to keep running into. I don't see enough on this team to take down an Edmonton or anything like that unless something crazy happens with Darcy Kemper or something like that. I think Los Angeles is going to make the playoffs, but I don't know if they're going to make a really big splash inside those playoffs. Let me know, what do you think? I think they'll make it, but I don't think they're that sleeper hit anymore for me. All right, we'll take a break from the overviews before we go over to the Vegas overview. Let's take a look at some of the signings that have been going around the NHL, and it's finally over, folks. Nicholas Pickles Robertson has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, is it really shocking? I mean, considering he asked for a trade, a month or two ago? And it was really weird when he asked for that trade at the time, because it really looked like, all right, we got a left spot open for Nicky Bobby to slide in there. He was, considering how little ice time that he had last season for the Leafs, he had 14 goals, I do believe, easily on a 20-goal pace. And looked like with the increased ice time that he could get, he could easily hit 20, maybe 25, who knows how many goals. And he was like, nah, I want out of here. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of waiting. And it's like, bro, it's not all the Leafs' fault. Like, A, COVID, B, you got hurt whenever opportunities came, and then C, when you did get a decent opportunity, he didn't wow us. He didn't necessarily wow, like when he scored a goal, he would generally have like a big defensive error followed after that, and it was like, you just kind of wiped away the good with a bad. So Nicky Bobby signing for $875,000. Now that is a bargain right there. That could be a very friendly deal for the Leafs this season. It could hurt them in the long run if let's just say he pops off for 30 goals. That's going to be a very interesting conversation next season. Some people also speculating that is a trade me contract. It's an immensely easily tradable contract, 1 year, 22-year-old left winger. I mean, hopefully the Leafs are going to be able to mend the bridge with Nicky Bobby. What generally will mend that fence is he gets ice time, he plays well, the team does well, and then, everything gets forgotten. Especially if they win a Stanley Cup, everything gets wiped away. You can do almost anything. Look at what Chicago got away with when they were winning their cups. Goo, that's a bad one. So, Nicky Bobby, it seems, I'm not guaranteeing that he is going to slot into that top six left wing, but it looks promising. Looks really promising. We're not getting to the Toronto Maple Leafs overview just yet, but the Nick Robertson thing really helps. That's exactly, I've been waiting all summer for him to sign so I can do the Leafs overview. Not really, I'm just kind of saving the best for last, you know what I'm saying? I'm also planning on doing basically a Toronto versus Boston overview for next week, because it's a good chance that Toronto meets up against Boston, so why not compare the two teams side by side, and we'll just do like a preview on, and if we're doing the playoffs today, which team would win? It's Boston, but regardless, it'll be fun to look at it. And we're still waiting on Jeremy Swayman, which I'll touch on that. I honestly forgot, because I haven't done the overview for Boston, that he wasn't signed. I was like, oh shit, Jeremy Swayman isn't signed. It's like, oh no, Swayman, that's crazy. So yeah, a lot of speculation and talk going around that right now. People worried that he may not start the season with the Bruins, and numbers fluctuating from, I think the Bruins, there was someone said that they threw a $6.5 million offer at Swayman, and okay, that's obviously way too low for Swayman, but you got to start somewhere, and if you're Boston, start low. If you're Swayman, start high. So I'm imagine Swayman's like, I want 15. Boston's like 6, and we'll slowly grind our way to somewhere in the middle, maybe 9, somewhere around there. I just can't see them paying him more than a Vasilevsky, paying him more than a Bobrovsky, guys that have freaking Stanley Cups, they have Vezinas, so I don't think he's worth that just yet. He hasn't even really had a full season under his belt. This will be the first one without Ullmark backing him up, but yeah, we're still waiting on the Swayman contract extension, but some other ones that went down. I cannot remember if I talked about Seth Jarvis. I feel like at this point I might have talked about it 3 times. Why not one more? 8-year extension, $7.42 million for the 20-year-old or 22-year-old center. So what's interesting about this deal is most people are comparing this Jarvis deal to what the what's his name? Not Mason Raymond. Is it Mason Raymond? Lucas Raymond, I think, in Detroit, that guy who hasn't signed. So this is the comparable. What Detroit fans are looking at could look something like this: 30-ish goal guy, 60, 70 points, and he's young. Seems like it'll be a good deal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the long run anyway. And Seth Jarvis is seemingly to be getting better. So yeah, we'll hopefully see a Lucas Raymond signing really soon out of Detroit, and a Maurice Seider, because, hey, man, we're getting really close to the season, and if Detroit wants any hopes of making it into the playoffs, they have to have Seider and Raymond. If they don't have those guys, no chance, senor. All right, let's see who else is signed. Robert Bortuzzo signs a league minimum with the Utah Hockey Club, probably a depth defenseman for them. We discussed Leon Draisaitl's ridiculous contract. Fucking Oscar Dansk. Yo, I remember Oscar Dansk, man. He used to get so good in the NHL video games, and here he is. Not even being given the decency to have his age represented. He is unaged. We don't know his position. I know he's a goaltender, and no cap hit, no nothing. But he signed with Anaheim, so good luck. Toronto signs Marshall Rafai for 2 years, league minimum, 26-year-old defenseman, some depth right there. Juuso Parssinen signs a 1-year extension with the Nashville Predators, a young 23-year-old center, looking for more. We'll see if he can unlock more of that potential, but league minimum, can't go wrong. And they also signed Mark Delgazzo. I don't know who that is. We got Seattle re-signing Adam Larsson for 4 years, $5.25 million per season for the 31-year-old defenseman. And I know Adam Larsson may not have lived up to that, what was he, drafted 5th or something overall? And he used to get really good in the video games as well. And, of course, the legendary 1-for-1 trade for Taylor Hall. But, hey, Adam Larsson is legitimately one of the better defensive defensemen out there right now. I would love Adam Larsson on the Toronto Maple Leaf blue line, but he's stuck with the Seattle Kraken for the next 4 seasons, and I think they'll be happy. 5.25, it's maybe a little bit high, but he is damn fine at being a defensive defenseman. Calgary signs Jared Tenorti for a 1-year, $800,000. Is it an extension? No, they just brought him in. Some depth on the blue line. Not too shabby right there at all. I guess I should do my due diligence and reload it because I haven't checked in the last day or so here. So we'll do a reload, make sure there's no other big signings or anything. Nope, absolutely nothing. But really good that Nicholas Robertson has got signed. That is a great situation for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And another person that kind of makes me a little bit excited for the regular season to get started because I want to see what Nicky Bobby can do. It's got a massive year for him and his career going forward. It's a really a nut up or shut up type of season for him. All right, what other kind? Okay, this is just straight up fun. Nikolai Kulemin. Remember him? I sure do. Me and my buddies, we used to call him, so Nikolai Kulemin, we used to go, Cooley. Anyway, he's 38 years old, and he is signing a PTO with the New York Islanders, I think it is. Regardless, that is awesome. I really hope he makes it. Nikolai Kulemin was one of my favorite Leafs during a very dark period in their history, but man, Nikolai Kulemin, awesome to hear that name again. What also awesome, so the 32 Thoughts podcast, I talked about this a little while ago in the situation between, what was his name? 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman and The other guy, anyway, I'm sorry. The other guy, he got let go. But they bring in Kyle Bukauskas. He joins the 32 Thoughts podcast. And hey, that's a damn nice fit right there. That guy has ridiculous hair. He's always on. He's that like the beginning of the Leaf games, and he's talking in the crowd and shit. I like him. He's really nice. I listened to their first episode together. It was good. The only thing that they'll be working on, and Elliot was making fun of Kyle throughout the episode, is like, yo, you got to shed this like good guy thing. Like we got to argue. We got to like we got to like hate each other on the episode sometimes because that's good entertainment. So yeah, Kyle Bukauskas, he's good first episode, and I'm excited to see how the chemistry will develop between the two. And yeah, I think that's a nice addition in terms of what's going on with the other guy and Jeff Merrick. There you go. I don't know what's happening with him. He hasn't come out and said anything yet. It's for him to come out and address the situation himself. Elliot was being really respectful. He's like, I'm not going to say anything for him. It's for him to say. So we're still waiting for a response out of Jeff Merrick and what his side of the story is. But regardless, very happy that the 32 Thoughts podcast is continuing onward. Elliot did say that they gave him the option to end the podcast, but I'm like, why would he do that? It's always been his podcast. He's had other hosts, I believe, with him before. Anyway, the 32 Thoughts podcast lives on, thankfully. All right, so let's swing over to Anaheim for a minute because they're kind of starting to a little bit of smoke over there right now with Anaheim. So apparently they're working on moving Cam Fowler and, of course, John Gibson. I mean, that just goes without saying. They've been trying to move him for 5 years. But Cam Fowler, that's a different one. Honest, like, as recently as last season, it sounded like Cam Fowler, lifetime Anaheim Duck, possibly a captaincy in his future. And yeah, now they're starting to discuss trading this guy, and not in a bad way. Like, oh, we got to get rid of this guy. He sucks. He's just an anchor on our team. No, he is a highly respected player in Anaheim. It's just, I think at this point, it's like, hey, man, your career is, starting to wind down. Do you want a chance to win? Because you won't have that chance here. Just trying to be honest. So that is interesting. I wonder, like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. So we're more than likely going to see a Cam Fowler trade. Where is he going? No idea. What that trade's going to look like? Again, no idea. But whoever gets him, I think, man, when these players, the ones that stay around on a mediocre, decent-ish, not that good team for a long time, they go somewhere really good, man, they explode. I think of Lindholm in Anaheim when he got moved to Boston, and he looked like the next Bobby Orr or something. He was incredible. So, yeah, very interested to see where Cam Fowler might end up. And also they said on the 32 Thoughts podcast that possible Radkel Gudas could be the next captain of the Anaheim Ducks. That's a lot of fun, man. He was brought in as that veteran Stanley Cup winning presence, and yeah, he was really effective for them last year. He played some damn good hockey for the Ducks, so he could potentially be their next captain, which would be rather interesting. Speaking of interesting, Montreal, we have Cole Caulfield has changed his number to number 13 to honor Johnny Gaudreau, and that is just lovely. Some people a little bit upset. Some are like, oh, they should just retire the number. No one should wear that. But I think the opposite. I think retiring the number kind of like you end up forgetting the legacy where you're just like, no one wears number 13 no more. And I think with Cole Caulfield saying like, I love Johnny Gaudreau. He was one of my favorites, and I want to wear his number to honor him. I think that's beautiful. You get to, every time I see Cole Caulfield number 13, I'm going to think, man, that's one of the Johnny Gaudreau guys right there. Like, Johnny Gaudreau inspired another great player in Cole Caulfield. So I'm all for it. Wear 13 if it's in honor of your favorite player. Absolutely. I'm not all for like retiring numbers. I don't know about it. Like, it's cool, but it's also like, what if someone wants to wear that number to honor that favorite player of theirs? Like, I think 99 is probably the only one that I feel like should be retired, and like maybe 66, I don't know. But what do you guys think about retired numbers and all of that stuff? Me personally, I'm super amped for Caulfield to wear number 13. I think that's fantastic. And I was watching Monday Night Raw this week. They were in Calgary, and they did a little tribute for Johnny Gaudreau, which, I mean, that's really cool, man. Like, for WWE, a wrestling company, to address a hockey player, and that just goes to show the the impact of what Johnny Gaudreau did for the city of Calgary. They showed the outside of the building, and it was just covered in jerseys, flowers, Skittles, fucking all this stuff that Johnny Gaudreau loved, and that is just very, very touching to the heart. You know, this cold heart of mine, it warmed up just a little bit that seeing that. So that was really, really nice for, you know, WWE shouting that out. Sami Zayn was wearing a Johnny Gaudreau jersey during the show. So yeah, that's just really nice, man. Again, just shows how incredibly awesome a person Johnny Gaudreau and his brother was, man. It's not just Johnny Gaudreau. They also shouted out Matthew Gaudreau, of course, as well. It's just the impact with Gaudreau is safe to say it's a little bit bigger. He touched a few more people, but regardless, incredibly sad, but really nice right there for Cole Caulfield to be doing that. Nice stuff. All right. We got a couple of retirements to announce here. Mark Stahl is calling it a career. I think his brother Eric not too long ago just called it a career. So the Stahls are leaving the NHL. There's only Jordan, I think, is still playing. So, whoa, I don't think there's any other ones in the pipeline. I would imagine in like 10 years we're gonna have mini Stahls. You know, the Stahl sons are gonna be coming in, so that would be key. But Mark Stahl calling it a career, and Andrew Cogliano finally calls it a career as well. Very good career for Andrew Cogliano. Very good defenseman. Under the radar. Awesome. So congratulations to both of you for nice careers. A couple of defensemen are gone. And I think that's everything in terms of other news going on. So let's dive back into the overviews. We're going to do... Who didn't we do yet? Vegas? I think, yeah, we're going to do Vegas next. Let's do Vegas. All right, all their stats are on the board. Let's do everybody's favorite team, the Vegas Golden Knights. Honestly, I like Vegas. Really like their cutthroat attitude. Really reminds me of how I play GM mode in the video games. I'm much worse than the Vegas Golden Knights. You think Vegas is bad? You should see me GM a team in NHL video games. I am just insane. So, Vegas, they are very much so... a little bit of the outlier in the NHL. They like to trade away all their first round picks. They like to make big splashes all the freaking time. And in terms of cap space, they don't have any. They're currently negative $3.6 million. So they're going to have to figure that the fuck out. Thankfully, I'm not the one that has to figure it out. I have no idea how you figure that one out. I just see something here on their Puckpedia. This is extremely interesting. Apparently, Robin Lehner is expected to return September 15th of 2024. That is in 4 days. What the hell? All right, that's going to be interesting when he comes back, because that's like $5 million more on the books. That's going to be a problem. All right, in terms of another problem they don't have a lot of draft capital. So first round picks, forget about it. They don't have any in 25 or 26. They have an extra third and an extra sixth in 25, no seventh. 26, no first, no fourth. And 27, they actually have extra stuff. They have an extra third, and they have a full cupboard in 2027. I guaranteed after this season that will not be the case. So they have some draft capital, no first rounds for the next couple of years. They have their seconds and thirds available, so those are probably all gone as well. In terms of cap space, it's a bit of a mess here. So Jack Eichel, the highest cap space or cap hit on the team, $10 million for the 20s. I can't believe he's only 27 years old. Feels like he's been in the league forever. Thankfully, he's already won a Stanley Cup now. $10 million for the next 2 years. Going to be interesting to see what Jack Eichel's next contract looks like. Is it going to be more than $10 million or less? I don't know if he's really lived up to 10. I don't know, man. Jack Eichel's an odd player, very odd player, but he is awesome. Really like Jack Eichel. I should probably pull up their stats and all that good stuff, and let's see how they did last season in terms of point production. Here we go, the 2023 season. So Jack Eichel got into 63 games. You can usually pencil him in for a few missed games. 31 goals, 37 assists, 68 points. Pretty good. Over a point per game. If he can get into a full healthy season, that would do wonders for Jack Eichel. I could see him hitting 100 points in a full healthy season. I would love it. You got Jonathan or Mark Stone up next, 56 games. Another guy you can pencil in for missing some games every year. 56 games, 53 points, in and around a point a game player, and he is one of the best two-way wingers in the game, if not the best one in the game. Incredibly good at stealing the puck away, hard to get the puck from him, and he's on $9.5 million for the next 3 seasons. He's 32 years old right now, so I can see Mark Stone's game starting to fall off. He plays a fairly intense game, and he's had tons of injuries, so it wouldn't be alarming for me if Mark Stone's game starts to drop off, but as of now, he is still in and around a point-per-game player. We have, who else oh my god, they brought in Thomas Hertl. I forgot about that. That is absolutely insane. He only got into 6 games with them last year, 4 points, so this is going to be a big year for Thomas Hertl, and see what he can do in a full season with the Vegas Golden Knights. $6.75 million for the next 4 seasons, it says here. He's 30 years old, so yeah, that's going to be really exciting to see what Hertl can do on a team that is not the San Jose Sharks. He looked pretty good in a limited run with them so far. Who else we got? William Karlsson, Wild Bill, 70 games, 30 goals, 30 assists. Awesome season for William Karlsson. 3 more years, 5.9, bargain of a contract. He is excellent, a two-way forward as well. Probably one of the fan favorites right there. Really like William Karlsson. You have Chandler Stevenson. He is no longer with the team anymore, so that is a 51-point player that is gone now. I would imagine that Thomas Hertl's going to step into that role, so shouldn't be too bad. Ivan Barbashev, 82 games, 45 points. Pretty nice season there for Barbashev. $5 million is pretty expensive for his production, but we know he can bring some physicality in the playoffs. They have Nicholas Waugh. He's $3 million for the next few years. I like Nicholas Waugh. He's a good middle 6 forward, 70 games, 41 points. You got... All right, let's just start listing off some of their depth here. They have a lot of players down here. Brett Howden, he's 26. Pavel Dorofeyev, 23 years old. Interested to see what he's going to do with the team this year. Keegan Colasar, Victor Olofsson. That's an interesting ad that they brought from Buffalo. This guy has 30-goal potential for $1 million. Why not take a waiver on him? That could be an amazing deal, or it could just be nothing. Oh my goodness, I'm dying. Excuse me. But Victor Olofsson, that could be amazing. And it's only $1.1 million. They could bury that if it's a disaster. They have Brendan Brisson. He is 22 years old. We'll see if he cracks the lineup. Alexander Holtz could be a massive player for Vegas this year. Got him from Jersey. And a lot of Jersey fans were like, yo, this Holtz guy, he can be a very, very good player. It's just that he and Lindy Ruff didn't really get along. So now he's in Vegas. Fresh start. This guy could be dangerous. So keep your eyes out on Holtz. They have Tanner... Oh, man, why do you got to have a name that's that ridiculous? Tanner Lagzinski, there you go. Jonas Rongsberg, also there for some depth. They're 27, 25 years old, so I don't know what you're going to get out of them. Tanner Pearson, not signed yet, so it doesn't seem like... how can they possibly sign him? They have no money, so can't really see them bringing that back, but their forward group, it's good, but not like elite. They've definitely lost some players over the last few seasons. Chandler Stevenson being one of them. But you bring in Thomas Hertl. You got, I mean, the team is starting to get a little bit older here. Like some of their bigger names like Mark Stone, William Karlsson, they're in their lower 30s, so they're still good. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some question marks, like how big of a dent is Holtz going to make? Is Victor Olofsson going to be amazing? There's some pretty good looking bets on this team right now. Vegas could be very dangerous again this season, but that's a good full forward group right there. I could see them being quite dangerous. That's pretty good. All right, defense. We got Alex Pietrangelo. I think I've been hearing that they might be trying to move Pietrangelo. He is 34 years old now, making 8.8 for the next 3 seasons, and I think his game is starting to wind down just a little bit right there. So possibly they're going to try and move him. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that, but we know what Alex Pietrangelo is going to be. He's a great defenseman. He's a great player. And how many points did he have last year? 64 games. Oh, you damn website keeps reloading on me. So he missed some games there with injury, which is, at his age, not great. You keep getting injuries. They get longer, and they're harder to come back from. So Pietrangelo, 64 games, 33 points. So yeah, a little bit of a down season for him. Probably going for like a 45-point season and a full 82, but hoping he can bounce back, getting into that 50-55-point range for them. Noah Hannafin, the new guy brought in from Calgary, he seemed to fit in very, very well with them in his short little run, and he's making big bucks now, 7.35. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a little rich for Noah Hannafin. I'm not going to say I'm happy that the Flames moved on for him, but with that cap hit, it would make no sense to have Noah Hanifin on the Flames right now. So we'll see if he can live up to that contract with Vegas in a full season. You got Shea Theodore on his final year of a bargain $5.2 million contract. He's going to get I think it's safe to say he's going to make a little bit more than that next season. He's been fantastic, but he had a lot of injury last year. Only got into 47 games, but had 42 freaking points. So, in a full 82, man, this guy could potentially get his name tossed into the Norris conversation. Doubt he would win it, but why not throw him in there? Top 10, maybe? Braden McNabb, solid defensive defenseman, 33 years old, one more year on 2.85. Zach Whitecloud, nice defenseman right there, 2.75 for the next multiple years. Not bad. Nicholas Hague, how is he only 25 years old? That feels weird. Anyway, Nicholas Hague, 25 years old, $2.29 million for the next season. Then he's an restricted free agent. So they'll have to. Their blue line is getting a little scary here. They have guys locked in, but they have big names coming up in Theodore, McNabb, Nicholas Hague. They also have Ben Hutton there for some depth. Their top four is really good. After that, it kind of falls off. Zach Whitecloud and Hague are solid. I think, actually, you know what? That's good defense. That's good defense right there. I like their defensive situation quite a bit. We'll see with Alex Pietrangelo, though. We'll see if his game starts to drop off. Don't be shocked if they trade him away. If he starts to fall apart, it's like, all right, see you later. Thanks for the cup, but bye. All right, so Robin Lehner's in net. Apparently, he's coming back, so that could cause some problems. Don't know what's going to happen there because they have Aiden Hill and they brought in Ilya Samsonov from Toronto. And I would not be surprised if Ilya Samsonov has a fantastic season for the Golden Knights. Would not be shocked at all. Aiden Hill, great goaltender, $4.9 million for the next season. So their goaltender, all their goalies are on one more year, and they're all unrestricted free agents. So Aiden Hill at 4.9, I can see him maybe making less. Ilya Samsonov, 1.8. I can see him really honestly only spending the 1 year in Vegas. And then the Robin Lehner situation is going to be, I can't wait to see how this one plays out. I have no idea. $5 million on the books for Robin Lehner. And yeah, he's 33 years old now. He's been all over the map for the last few years. So goaltending might be a little bit of a question mark because there's been some injury problems with their goaltenders pretty much ever since the beginning of their existence in the NHL. But it's Vegas, man. You know they're going to be competitive. They're going to do everything that they can to get into the playoffs and try to win a Stanley Cup. Pencil in a whole bunch of injuries for this team. Like I can see Jack Eichel, Stone, fucking you name it, man. There's going to be tons of injuries on this team, but they've time and time again, they've always had the depth, or someone comes up from the minors and they do just dandy. We'll see how long Vegas can keep it going. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit bare here. You know, they don't have any cap space. They're lacking in draft picks. They don't have many prospects, if any, left. So I still think they're definitely playoff bound this year, but it could be another like close one. If things could definitely go wrong and they miss, if they have a really bad injury riddled season and goaltending falls apart, I could see Vegas missing this season, but I don't think it's going to happen just yet. But I wouldn't be surprised. Let me know what you think of the Vegas Golden Knights. Do you hate these guys? Do you like these guys? I like the Vegas Golden Knights. My wife, the first season they came in, she was like, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I called her crazy, and then they went to the Stanley Cup final and almost did the freaking thing. So that is special. There's something special about Vegas. I like the way that they operate. It's cutthroat. It's not for everybody, but I enjoy it. So let me know what you think of the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, one little piece of news that I want to talk about before I leave you guys is Max Pacioretty. Max Pacioretty, if you will. Potential that this guy signs a PTO with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, oh boy, I think that could potentially cause a wrinkle with Nicky Bobby. Like, if Pacioretty gets a PTO, plays well, there is a lot of injury problems around Pacioretty, so good chance he doesn't even make it. But if he does, would he not slot into that left wing spot where you think Nicky Bobby would be? That's where I would probably have him. Depends. Like, I don't know. Like, his career's definitely gone on the backswing right now for Pacioretty, but if they get him, they bring him in, I think that could rather cause some internal competition between Pacioretty and Nicky Bobby. I was a little bit like, I'm excited. I really like Max Pacioretty, though I shouldn't because he was a longtime Montreal Canadian. I think didn't he play for the Bruins too? Anyway, But that would be interesting, man. If they can get Pacioretty for a decent deal, that could be a good power play guy to bring in on the second unit, and who knows what would happen. So keeping my eyes out for a Pacioretty PTO signing. As of right now, they say it's very cloudy because of all the injury history and all that stuff. But all I'm thinking of is Nicky Bobby. Like, if they bring him in, then that's gonna fuck things up a little bit, but I guess it doesn't matter now. They have him signed, so it's like, we got you. You're ours, and now we can do whatever we want. We're going to bring in Pacioretty. We're going to bring in another left winger. We're going to, all that shit. So, going to be interesting to see what happens with that one. Outside of that, I don't think there's any more news that I feel like talking about this week. I'm going to save the Toronto Maple Leaf and the Boston overview for next week. We'll kind of do a head-to-head and just kind of compare the two teams, because I feel like it's inevitable. They're going to meet in the playoffs yet again, and might as well get that comparison done now, and could be fun. And maybe Jeremy Swayman will get signed within the week, and then we could discuss that as well. So there we go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more the best, make sure you're hitting that like button, review the podcast, tell a friend or 18, and that would be awesome. We got a Twitter page you can follow along with, put up announcements there as best as I can. I put up a new picture of the newest mascot of the GX Plus Cats, so you can go up and check out the newest, cutest mascot on the Twitter page. I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. You can go there, subscribe. Great place to drop a comment. You want a question answered on the podcast, drop a comment there. On Twitter, doesn't really matter. Anything about video games, wrestling, hockey. Outside of that, I'm no expert by any means, but I'll try my best. And there's an email address as well if you want to have a private conversation. My door is open for everyone and anyone. So there we go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening again. We'll be back with some GX Plus Cast.